Welcome to CSS Hover Mania. Well, yes, in the description for the video it said CSS image rollover effects. Yes, that's true. But once you get into the hover aspect, the pseudo class hover in CSS, then your imagination starts going and it's just go, 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 go. And so I thought I'd expand the concept a bit. For years, people have been using JavaScript and Dreamweaver for rollover images. Very simple, but if you ever look at the code, it's all kinds of JavaScript, and of course the developers are making it up to make it easy for you to do. But CSS, the hover effect for rollover images, is actually very simple, and you can be in total control and understand what you're doing if you're not real good at JavaScript. So here we go. Hover. You've seen the hover effect in the anchor link when you make text hover effects. On rollover, this hover effect is called a pseudo class, the anchor tag, hover, and then in the curly braces, we execute this action. And we can make almost anything happen within these curly braces for the hover pseudo class with the anchor tag, the link. Now, everything I'm going to show you, you can download it at this link, sillybilly.com, samples/CSS hovermania.zip with all of the images, the HTML document, the CSS file, blah, blah, blah. So here we go. Let's see what we're going to try to get done here. Here we go. Now, this makes sense. Life is good, and that's a link. And when we hover over the link, we just want it to change color. That's a hover effect. We'll see the code in a second. And let's look at the code. Let's look at the code. Here's my CSS. That is, I've created an ID, which is a box. It could have been a class, and it's called left. And in left, here's where I have my anchor tags. Left, the anchor tag in left does this, and the link does that. If it's visited in left, it does that. And here we go. A hover, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's the hover effect working on our text right here. Well, we can do the same thing to an image. In this HTML document, I have the header up here, and the header has some grass in the background for header, but then I put in an image. And all I do is I just put an image in there, and on hover, we go from a grayscale image to a color image. A grayscale image to a color image, blah, blah, blah. There's your basic image rollover effect right there. It's beautiful. Of course, I must say that we have an image in the background, the grass, which is a JPEG, and the images on top of that, I've set those to ping 24. So I go into Photoshop, make a circle, inverse the selection, get rid of the background so it has a transparent background. And of course, the ping 24 supports transparency so that I can keep my circle, the edges are transparent and the grass shows through on the background. I'm sure you already knew that. But to make the hover effect for the images, here's what happens. It's pretty basic, actually. Let's go up here into the top of the code. Here we go. I made each of those images, and let's drag this over here so you can kind of take a little peek. Like the young lady over there in the image. Here is background URL. a path to the image with height float left in the head tag. It's an ID. It could have been a class. And then, let me move her out of the way. Then ID, hover sign, blah, 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 path to the image. It's that simple. Let's look at the HTML code. Image 1. We're looking for image 1. Look at how simple this HTML is. Div ID image 1. That's it. It could have been a class. It's in the header. They're all floating. They're all floating left. That keeps them in order, of course, all in the header tag. So all I do is I have an ID, image 1. That's it. The magic comes in the CSS. And of course, in the CSS, here we go. Background image with height, float left. And all we have is a path for the background. And then image 1, hover, background, path to the new image. And you have the zip file, play with it, replace it with your own images. Now, what I wanted to do, it's all good, well, and fine to have rollover images, but gosh, I want, everywhere you go, you want these things to be clickable so you can go somewhere. So let's move you out of the way and let's go back into our HTML source code, and it would be as simple as this. And it's so simple. It's so simple. I don't want to waste your time messing up the code, so I'm just going to go into design mode, come out of live view, and let's just type this text right here just for the heck of it. Grab my properties panel, and I'm going to type in http://www.google.com. Okay, let's make target equals blank. Of course, that will open a new browser window. We're done here. Get you out of the way. Let's go back into our code. And here's our link right here. Right there in the image. Now, that's not what I want, actually. So here we go. I'm going to take, first I'm going to get rid of the text. I don't want it. I just didn't want you to see me typing this text and mess up again and again. So I'm going to cut this, paste it here outside of the div. So there we go. Our link, our anchor tag now wraps around the div image 1. There you go. There you go. Open the link, close the link. We're in business. Let's just do a save all. Better yet, let's go File, Save All. And let's preview in the browser. Browser comes up over here. Notice on these images we get no thingy. On this image we get the thingy, indicating that it's a link. We click it, boom, wham, bam, we're at google.com. But let's take the, and again, all I did in the HTML, I just wrapped the div in a link tag. It's that simple. I could do it to each and every image. But what's even more fun about Hover Mania is, sure, we can have our text, hover effects, we can have our image, hover effects with links on them, but check this out. Life is good. How good is it? It's real good. This is another hover effect. Here, we start out with just a white background in a div called right. But on hover, we can change our text attributes in that div, as well as apply an image background. So when I hover over the div called right, bam, we get a whole new effect. Hover Mania. Hover Mania. Oh my, Hover Mania. You can just get carried away, can't you? So let's go over here and let's talk about hover right, or the right div. I'll go, you can see, come down here. Look at how simple that HTML is. Simple HTML. We have a div ID called right. It could have been a class. We could have said div class equals right. Yes, that will work. I'll go into my CSS and let's find right. Here we go. Right. I've got my width, height, text line center, some padding, color for the, here's the important part. The color for the text here, I think it's like beige. Font size is 25. But when it's time for action, I say # right hover, the pseudo class hover. And of course, this # could have been a dot, a period, making it a class. This will work with a class. And then the change comes. I increase my font size, change the color of the text. I get rid of the background color, replace it with this image. It's Hover Mania. This can make your pages very appealing, but of course, too much of anything is a bad thing. Call me up, 415-839-0096 for a class.